Hello, welcome to the next movie of ЩЛОЗAK construction series. At the beginning I will start with Superstructure. Two early icons have already been glued. While cutting out the elements, it is good to leave a distance so that the plastic doesn't deform. After cutting off all elements, I started grinding. For this purpose I used a file with different gradations, one for grinding and the other for fine finishing. Then I proceeded to gluing elements with extra team glue. This is how the whole side of the superstructure looks. I actually wasn't satisfied with this effect. As you can see, there are some gaps. I'm not sure if it was my fault by grinding too much, but I already have an idea how to solve it. The next step was to cut all the deck elements, including the hull. I use extra team glue to put all platforms' superstructures on the deck. Unfortunately, I didn't know yet that I'm making a big mistake because painting with those elements will be much more difficult. That's the lesson I'm gonna remember for sure. Watching photos, I decided to make a certain element. It seems to me that there is an antenna on the front of the superstructure. I made a small element from the remains of polystyrene with grinding the triangular shape, and I glue it to the front of the superstructure. Next step was to glue two Orbicons, which in my opinion came out the best. I used CA glue. I tried to do it with a pin. It was a better solution than a toothpick. Then I glued whole superstructure to the hull. The next step was gluing the photo-etched elements. I also used cyanoacrylate glue for this purpose. All PE parts should be glued using CA glue, because the extra thin glue actually, what it makes, it dissolves the polystyrene. The CA glue binds the metal and the polystyrene. Then I started to glue the ladders, which was not actually an easy task. The next step was to glue the railing. I decided that I would change the way of using CA glue, so I used a small syringe with a very thin needle. I fill it with CA glue, and that gives me much more control over the released glue, and I didn't use it in excess. Also, it's good to cut the needle with pliers to have a straight needle tip. Then I cut more photo-etched parts. And I started to glue it. First, the anchors. The only disadvantage of placing the glue in the syringe is that after a while the glue in the needle hardens and you cannot get a drop, but you just have to hit a little the needle with lighter and you can continue to work without any problem. Such application of glue using a syringe is, in my opinion, much more convenient, and I recommend it, especially when gluing just such small photo-etched parts that we need to apply this glue precisely. Actually, this CA glue causes me the most problems because I would like the models to be very clean. Next step was to assemble the masts. Unfortunately, while grinding I broke one of them, but I was actually lucky because I had already planned to replace these masts with metal ones. After gluing the masts, I started to bend the element on the chimney. I decided to take it on the light bulb. It was actually a good idea because the shape was very accurate and I was happy with this result. Then I glue the chimney. Next elements was deep sea bombs on both sides of the ship and previously prepared elements. I move along with the other photo-etched elements, bolts, cranes and railings. After preparing the previous movies, I saw that the light on my movies is not actually very good, so I will try to change it in the future. Started to glue the deep sea bomb boxes and the flag stuff on the aft. Another additional element that I made was the small antennas. Actually, I wasn't able to make such an accurate antenna, but I used some photo-etched parts and I was quite satisfied with the effect. As I mentioned before, that the bigger mistake was to glue all elements for painting, so I will definitely remember it. Putting the CA glue into the syringe and the application in such a way was, I think, a very good idea. It improves the quality of gluing, so I really recommend this method. That's all for today. I hope you liked the way that I made this movie. I wanted to show a lot of construction elements. I speed up some parts because I didn't want it to be boring. I hope it's more interesting because you can see some effects faster. Please give me your opinion and wait for another movie nearest future. See you soon, guys. Bye.